Hi there, I'm Namish Patel Owen, and you're listening to Live Your True Self, episode number 79. After 18 years doing corporate, in 2018, it became about doing me, doing what I love. Not that long ago, I too felt a deep desire to be something more, asking myself, who am I anyway, and what's my purpose? Full of self-doubt and fear of failure, fast forward to this moment and you'll see a version of me that's true to myself, calm, confident, and clearer than ever before, despite the drama. Inspired by Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, one must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So perspective is everything. No matter where you are on your personal growth journey as a high achiever, I'm here to guide you. Together, we'll step out of your head, the busyness in your mind, and drop into your heart, the space where lasting transformation begins, so that you too can awaken your true self and live life more meaningfully in this moment, even in the messiness. Take a deep breath and listen on in. Hi there, my lovely. Welcome back. I'm super grateful for you being here today. How are you? I hope you're well and in good spirits. And if not, that's okay too. Remember, we get to be with what is. So, yeah, just remember that. Today's episode is a little bit different. We're diving into a book that has not only shaped my business journey, but completely transformed how I see success in terms of navigating life, to be honest. And that book is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And if you've come across this book, you'll know this will give you a useful reminder and my perspective. And if you haven't, this is going to be a real gem for your thinking and your inner growth journey, and just a really lovely spiritual take on how to see success in life. I first found this book actually at the library. In fact, no, I think I came across a PDF version some time ago, maybe during COVID it might have been, and I saved it on my phone, and I remember trying to read the PDF on my phone, but anyway, for whatever reason I wasn't ready for it then. But a couple of years ago I found the book at the library, at the local library, and I must have renewed it at least 5 times. I had it for ages. And I've read it and reread it over and over, and each time I've taken away something new. And I've been waiting to share my insights from the concepts in the book for a while with you here on the podcast. And I've been gathering my thoughts and how best to bring it all together for a few months, to be honest. And interestingly, just like the wisdom in the book and that the book teaches, the timing of this episode feels divinely aligned, you could say. So this is how it was meant to be. But before we get into it, let me take you back to a moment that completely shifted my perspective on success. When I first started my business, I had big financial goals, as you would expect when setting up a business. I had a vision of what success would look like in terms of income, milestones and growth numbers and metrics, and almost like external markers and status that we're taught define success. But here's the thing. I didn't hit those financial goals in the way I planned or expected. And at first, that felt like failure. That felt really disappointing. And I caught myself thinking, am I doing enough? Should I be pushing harder? Should I be doing more? What am I doing wrong? And, comparing myself to other colleagues and coaches and business owners that I was in a community with, whether that was networking or in my coaching containers. And, it was this just real questioning where I was at and why the success wasn't happening for me. But little did I know that life had other plans. And through personal circumstances, particularly in 2022 and 23, and this is after, the whole COVID period, which was like a year after I'd set up the business anyway. So it was almost like year one was the business was established, and then very much year 2 and 3 was very much that sort of 18-month period of COVID and lockdown, and then opening up, and then the second batch and wave of COVID. And then the following year of business, so like say year 3 and year 4, I experienced some personal circumstances and I had to slow down. And in that space, I realized something, quite profound and life-changing. And that was that I was growing in ways that money couldn't measure. Spiritually, I deepened my awareness and trust and just perspective of life. Emotionally, I learned to allow positive and negative feelings, and processing grief for the first time ever, having lost my dad in January 2023, and energetically I was like more aligned, or aligned more with myself and my purpose than ever before. And so I realized, after despite being in business for a good few years, that I was growing in ways that money couldn't measure. And yet when I set up, really, that was the measure that I had given myself, albeit, there was like a number of people that I would like to help and impact. But essentially, the metrics did come down to sort of that financial focus versus, like financial wealth versus emotional wealth. And the book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, helped me redefine what success actually means. And so I want to help you do the same, because it shifted me and my thinking from chasing success to aligning with it. Instead of focusing results and instead of focusing on results and being attached to the outcomes, and like when they don't come about and they don't transpire, then like really going into this sort of cycle of questioning and doubting and spinning, and this idea of I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, and worth, and that whole cycle, which is very unuseful and keeps you spinning. I learned how to flow with life. And what I mean by that is like trusting, surrendering, and creating success in a way that felt right for me. And it was the inner work. I learned how to do the inner work, and I practiced the inner work. I was really applying the teachings of personal growth and the coaching that I was receiving and the mentoring I was receiving and all the learnings from the spiritual teachings to really align with who I am and what I'm about. And what struck me the most is that these laws weren't just concepts from another self-help book. They actually complemented the ancient wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita, which that I have studied and continue to study and live by, which definitely felt in alignment. And the laws reminded me of something deeper, something I already knew, but had or sometimes forgotten in the noise of doing more to be successful. And so today I want to share not just a book review, but a deeper reflection of how these laws align with the wisdom of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and how they can guide us toward true, meaningful success, not just in business or your career, but in life as a whole. And for you as a beautiful soul, no matter where you're at, no matter what role you're in. And here's my insight. While I haven't hit my external business goals, I've gained something far greater. I've become more me than ever before, and day by day, literally continue to do so through the power of awareness and working with my mind, body, and soul. I've learnt to trust the space between my thoughts, to embrace the journey rather than obsess over the outcome and make the outcome mean something, unhelpful or bad about me. And instead, just focus on who I'm being, the energy I'm radiating from aligning my mind, body, and soul versus merely doing for doing's sake. And it's this real shift from being versus doing, and letting who I am and being intentional about who I am guide the actions I take and guide the doing or the not doing. And what I know for sure is this: when we are aligned with our true selves, that truest version of who we are, external success follows in divine timing. Right? The timing is not for us to worry about. And that is something I really, really leaned into and just let go, because the project manager in me wants to know by when and have that date. But sometimes when it comes to certainly spiritual practices and navigating through life, we have to trust that the timing will unfold as and when it's right for us. And so if you've ever felt like you're doing all the things and doing all the right things, but not seeing the results yet, I want you to hear this. your growth is happening. You are evolving. You are on the right path. And just because success looks different than perhaps you expected, that doesn't mean it's not unfolding perfectly for you if you choose to see it that way. So let's explore these 7 spiritual laws together and see how they can guide us, not just towards success as the world defines it, but towards a success that feels deeply fulfilling and, as I've said, aligned with who we truly are. And just to be clear, this isn't about a promotion or affiliation in any way. This is simply a heartfelt recommendation of a book that has truly impacted my journey and inspired me. And I think it will resonate with you, my dear listener, too. So all credit goes to Deepak Chopra, who is a incredible Indian American author, a thought leader, and very much, spiritual advocate, and also an advocate for alternative medicine. And since the publication of this book in 1994, it's touched countless lives. Like, I've seen so many reviews and comments, and people often describe it as a spiritual guide that shifts how they think about success, and not just in their careers, but, as I say, in life as a whole. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. And the beauty of it is it's a really easy, simple read. It's almost like a fable, but in such a digestible way, with actually, practical, implementable ways of putting the laws into practice in day-to-day life. And every time I've come back to these 7 laws, together with the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, I deepen my understanding of what it really means to succeed in life. But before we dive in, let me ask you this, and just take a moment to have a think about this. What does success mean for you? What does success mean for you? Just notice what comes up for you. And it's different for everyone. Maybe for you, it's financial freedom. Maybe it's health and well-being, a fulfilling career, or pursuing your soul's purpose and having a transition in terms of career. Maybe it's a loving relationship, or, having and raising a family. Whatever it is, it's really important for you to define what success means for you. And we must define success for ourselves based on where we are in life and what truly matters for us. And know that this can change in the seasons of our life, and, what's important to us in terms of success can evolve. And for me, my understanding of success has, as I've described, certainly evolved over time. And so, you kind of journey with it, so to speak. And it's no longer about things turning out the way I want them to. As I say, it's about who I become in the process. And success is aligning my mind, body, and energies to my fullest capacity and capability to enable me to experience life fully. And so success is deeply personal. And when life unfolds in a way that aligns with your heart and what you truly desire, that is success. Others might not see it that way, but you know the effort it took. You know what it means for you, no matter what it is. So I invite you to take a moment and reflect on what success looks like for you in this chapter or season of life. And as I say, just notice what comes up. Pause and capture your thoughts now if you can and want to. And then come back. So I think you can tell how passionate I am about this, and I could just, keep going on. But let's dive into these 7 spiritual laws and discover how they can help us align our lives and our true selves with success in a way that feels right for you. Number 1, the law of pure potentiality. Deepak Chopra's first law reminds us that we are pure potential. Success isn't about struggle. It starts with stillness, self-awareness, and recognizing that everything we seek is already within us. The law of pure potentiality is about recognizing that our true self is pure consciousness, right? Pure potential. Imagine you are an infinite field of possibilities, because by the way, you are. By connecting with your true self through silence, meditation, by being in nature, just having this introspection, you can tap into this inner potential. And I'd love for you to think about where in your life you can create more space for stillness and awareness and reflection. Where can you reconnect with your true essence beyond the noise and the day-to-day activities of life? The Bhagavad Gita teaches us the same. In chapter 2, Krishna tells Arjuna, you have the right to your actions, but never to the fruits of your actions. Meaning, our power comes not from external results, but from knowing who we are and acting from that energy and that space. And so for me, when I stopped obsessing over the results and the outcomes and started trusting in my, innate abilities and skill set, my business grew in ways I never expected. People and opportunities came to me, and I was able to show up, authentically and from a place of, trust and belief. And opportunities flowed, and, I was invited to do things like talks and lead certain events and get involved in certain things and take on, new ways of growing and expanding. And most importantly, I felt, almost at peace and at one with who I am. And so law number 1, the law of potentiality, for me is really about leaning into your inner power. Number 2 is the law of giving and receiving. The second law is about reciprocity. What we give, we receive, whether it's kindness, value, or energy, positivity, the universe reflects it back. So the law of giving is about the energy of giving and receiving, which are two sides of the same coin. when we give with an open heart, we set the law of circulation in motion. And it's not just about material gifts. It could be a smile, a kind word, a text message, a simple phone call, or gesture, or simply listening to someone. How can you integrate the spirit of giving into your daily interactions? How can you lead from a place of giving and consider what you can give today, like whether it's time, your attention, or even like gratitude. And I remember someone just saying to me, or like I've heard it a couple of times, but they were just said to me, I love the energy you bring. And that's such a beautiful example of them giving to me. And I just love it when people say that from a place of like warmth in my heart versus like ego. It's just, I'm just so grateful for somebody giving me that feedback. And so we get to give that, and any type of feedback in that sort of way. And from the Bhagavad Gita's perspective, it reinforces this idea with seva. And seva is selfless service. And it teaches us that true success comes when we act from a place of contribution and not just personal gain, right? We act from a place of giving, not just wanting to receive. And I've seen this firsthand, particularly when I shifted my focus from wanting to get clients to, giving and serving them with love and value, like from a place of unattachment, just from a place of giving from my heart. And from that energy, like my business has flourished just naturally. And clearly I'm able to lean into more of who I am from a place of giving and serving versus trying to get. And people can feel that, it's like people can feel that get energy versus give energy. And so law number 2 is really the flow, what I would describe as the flow of abundance, right? It's giving and receiving. And by the way, you do have to be open to receiving. And I know sometimes that can actually be a task as well. We have to be open to receiving not only what we want, but also feedback to help us grow on our journey. Number 3 is the law of karma. So karma isn't about punishment, and it isn't about, this idea of what goes around comes around, right? Not in this kind of spiritual teaching. It's about conscious choices, and that every action has a ripple effect. So Chopra teaches that success is not about luck, but about aligning our actions with awareness. And so the law of karma, or, you could describe it as cause and effect, says that every action we take generates a force of energy that returns to us in kind. And it's the simple but profound concept of what we sow, or like what you sow, so shall you reap. And I invite you to think about the choices you make daily. whatever they are in terms of your habits and your behaviors, the choices we make day in, day out, are they in alignment with your highest good? What intentions are behind your actions? Are you clear about that? And how can you ensure they lead to positive outcomes for your success, for yourself and for others? And from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, a person who is unattached to the results of their work and acts in devotion attains peace. So this concept, changed everything for me. Instead of forcing outcomes, instead of, pushing on through and really gripping onto the results and, what I desire and want, I instead just started taking inspired action. Right? Trusting that the results would follow in its own divine time, in its own divine way. I just have to tune into me and what feels right for me and take action from that place. And when I did that, lo and behold, things worked out. And so law number 3, the law of karma, is about conscious action. Law number 4 is the law of least effect. And this is another powerful game changer law, certainly for me. And it's the idea that nature doesn't struggle. Right? The sun rises, the rivers flow, the trees grow effortlessly, the night comes, the day comes, the seasons flow. And so why do we force and push and, just this, create pressure in our lives, in our business, in our career to make things happen? When, we get to just trust and believe that nature will take its course and things will unfold in their way. And so the law of least effort teaches us, nature's intelligence and, functions are also there for us and can be effortless and easeful for us as well. And so this law teaches us that when our actions are motivated, again, from a place of love and from a place of awareness, we remain detached from the outcome, right? Because we're intentional about who we're being, we achieve more with less effort, right? We're not trying to be someone that we're not, because that's what takes effort. That's what zaps our energy. That's what makes us feel so tired. We just get to be who we truly are and take action from that place. And so, we achieve more with less effort. So where in your life can you let go of the need to control and instead flow with the rhythm of nature and Mother Nature and the beauty of life and how it's meant to unfold? And, consider embracing acceptance and responsibility with where you are and how things are, and allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, for some higher good. And sometimes we know and sometimes we don't know what that good is, but just believing that there is some useful and helpful intention for us creates us to be, and welcome success with least effort. And from the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches equanimity. And success comes when we align with our purpose and surrender attachment to the outcomes, right? We just let go of the outcomes and instead like really lean into the journey of who we're being and what we're learning and how we're growing. And genuinely for me, the moment I let go of control, and particularly controlling the things I cannot control, because there are so many things we cannot control, but instead like focusing on what I can control, and that's my mind, body and soul, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm doing. And I did there's a separate podcast about this, which is control the controllables. The moment I let go of control of the external factors that I had no control of, and stopped overthinking that and worrying about that and second guessing all of that, and instead leaned into just trusting and accepting, things started flowing. I want to say effortlessly, but in its own magical way. Things happened which I wouldn't have even thought of, to be honest with you. And so law number 4 for me, I would say, is about trust and flow. Okay, law number 5 is the law of intention and desire. So this law is also powerful, and this is about the seed of creation and really leaning into kind of our creativity. And when we plant our intentions, for example, like in the fertile soil and ground, a groundedness of pure potentiality, right? This inner potential that we have, we can create and manifest our desires, right? We can make our desires come true. We can make them happen. So what are your deepest desires right now? What is something you want to happen? And how clear are you on your intentions related to this, right? Who do you have to be? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing in service of that desire? So I would really invite you to take some time to write down and think about and really capture what you truly want in life in this season of yours, and visualize it coming to fruition, like visualize it happening. And I've got a couple of visualization meditations on the podcast, which I will link to, but find a way to really connect with that version of you and feel how that version of you would feel with that desire being true, right? Because intention, when released into the universe, right, into the higher source, like whatever you believe in, when we put our intentions out there, and it's almost like being intentional about our intentions, that has a way of coming back, right? It's going back to the law of giving and receiving, right? When we give those intentions and put it out there, they have a way of coming back. And the universe will receive that and send it back in a way that sometimes we wouldn't even expect, but in a way that's super powerful. And the Bhagavad Gita reminds us that our thoughts shape our reality, right? And this, right? This is the concept of this whole podcast and what I'm about. It's really tune into what are you thinking, what are you feeling, and therefore what are you doing, and how that is what is your reality, my reality. And Krishna tells Arjuna, as a person thinks, so they become. And I'm sure you've heard this in many different ways. And Chopra in the book, or this law of intention and desire echoes that. When we set clear intentions with faith, with belief, the universe responds. And I've experienced this over and over. And when I set a vision from a place of belief rather than doubt, things unfold in ways I never could have imagined or even planned. And it really is this idea of, just trusting and believing and letting go. And so law number 5, I would describe, is about clarity of intention and faith. Law number 6, the law of detachment. And we've spoken a little bit about this. And it's so interesting, actually. It's worth saying how some of these laws sort of weave into each other, but also kind of stand alone. So the law of detachment is about letting go of our attachment to the outcomes. And I've already said it before, and I'll say it again. This was a big one for me. Yes, we get to focus on our outcomes and results and be clear on what that is and looks like in terms of setting goals. But for me, the difference was the grip I had on those outcomes happening. And the law of detachment is about just letting go of the grip and not making the outcome mean anything bad about me. And that doesn't mean we don't care. It doesn't mean that we don't stay focused and working towards the outcomes and the results and the goals. It means we trust that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, will bring us what we need when we need it, right? When we're ready to receive it. And it knows when we're ready to receive it, because we will be radiating that signal, right? That's what we will be radiating to say, I'm ready for this now, or consciously or unconsciously, that you're not ready for the result that you desire for whatever reason. And that, as I say, that could be knowing or unknowingly something that you are putting out there, which is why it's so important for us to be intentional about what we are putting out there. So how often do you find yourselves clinging on to specific outcomes or resisting change? I encourage you to practice letting go, surrendering and trusting in the process, and remaining open to all possibilities from a place of just trusting that whatever is meant for you will find its way to you. Like whatever is happening is meant to happen. And I know that this one is hard, right? Because we think holding on tight will get us what we want, right? We think that if we just stay laser focused and, like super clear on what we want, then, it will happen. But certainly what I've learned is that true success, true like goals and what you want to achieve comes from letting go of the tightness, right? Letting go of the grip, letting go of the pressure, of it happening or you getting the thing or, whatever the outcome is. And it's just like really just letting go of that hold and being open to it, but maybe more, right? Maybe the thing that we desire is actually, I want to say limiting, but like our growth and our possibility of what can happen is like far greater in comparison to the goal that we've set. And the Bhagavad Gita calls this vairagya, and that's detachment from outcomes while staying committed to our path. And like, hand on heart, I learnt this earlier on in my business, things would have been a lot different. The moment I stopped micromanaging and, putting pressure on me and the business, my success, and just trusted, the universe, trusted a bigger, more aligned plan, like doors opened in their own time. People came to me, opportunities came to me from letting go. And like, genuinely, it's just so bizarre when that happens. And an example of that, which is not even business, but is when we were trying to get pregnant, this was 12 years ago, because now I'm 11 now, but yeah, I was so obsessed and so focused on that as an outcome for Steve and I to have a baby and get pregnant and all the things. And, I was obsessing over my cycle and ovulating and what I was eating and sleeping and, my temperature and all the things, right? Too obsessed, too attached. When I let go, right, things happened. Things happened. I was in Canada on a conference for 3 weeks. Not a conference, it was like a development program, executive development program. I was away for 3 weeks. And lo and behold, I found out that we were pregnant while I was in Canada. Totally unexpected. Wasn't even planning for it on the basis of, we started another avenue of exploring another way. So there you go, right? Letting go to grow, letting go to get what you want. So law number 7, the final law, is the law of dharma. And dharma is about living your purpose. And this is also a very, very powerful law. And the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that each of us, right, each one of us, you and I, we all have a unique purpose. And true success comes when we align with it. It's for so many years, I want to say just autopiloted my way through corporate life, and that was how it was meant to be, and I know that deep in my heart. But also deep in my heart, when that time came, I knew that there was something more for me. I knew there was another calling, another purpose for me whilst I'm on this planet, and that just started to unfold in 2018 when I got sick and, had a chance to stop and reflect and connect with who am I, what am I about, what's important to me, and why am I on this planet? And so Chopra's final law is exactly that. Success isn't about, following a path that doesn't feel good, that is unfulfilling, or even following someone else's path. It's about stepping into and owning your own truth, your own gifts, right? Your own skill set, your own experience, your own growth and learning. right? Really leaning into your own calling and the purpose of why you are on this planet. And we have a short time on this planet, right? We all know that life is short. And so the law of Dharma invites us to find and live by our purpose. And when I, stopped trying to be someone I wasn't, and, stopped trying to, say, build my business the way others did or suggested, and instead leaned into my own voice, albeit sometimes it was quite silent, that true inner voice coming from my heart, coming from myself. It was like a whisper in and amongst the busyness in my mind. But when I leaned into that and tuned into that, my own way of coaching, my own way of, marketing and selling came about, right? This podcast, this expression of me came about, right? I bought the microphone years and years ago. Like, I'm pretty sure I bought it before COVID even. But, I obviously had all the drama and it wasn't the time. But when the time came, when did I start the podcast? April 23, I leaned into my voice and used this platform and this forum, like creating this podcast as an expression of that. And it just felt freeing and it felt liberating. And I feel so aligned, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to share my growth and my learning and my experiences and my tips and my, meditations and me with you. Like, here we are doing it in real life. And so, this is my dharma. This is my purpose, or an element of it in terms of the podcast. And that's the point, that's the point of success. It's doing something that feels right and in tune and aligned with you. And, success is to feel that, like, deeply, like truly feel alive, truly feel liberated, to truly feel you're being who you want to be, who you're meant to be in this life. And so the law of Dharma, or purpose in life, is about living in alignment with your purpose, right? You have your own unique gift. How can you share it, or how can you continue to share it in a even more deeper and aligned way with the world? And if you're not quite there yet, that's fine. Like, see this as me giving, but you receiving the message of the law of Dharma, right? Leaning into your purpose. And I would invite you to, like, reflect on your passions, reflect on your strengths, what you're good at, what brings you alive, what brings you energy, and how can they contribute to the well-being and the success of you and others. And this is where true fulfillment lies. And I'm not saying it's easy. Like, none of these laws, I would say, are easy to do. They really do require a level of awareness and consciousness in our being, and really managing our mind and redirecting all the unhelpful and negative thoughts to a place of trust and belief. Like, genuinely, that is it. So it's not easy, but it is simple. So let's bring this all together. Oh, so law number 7, law of dharma, and I would describe it as living and being your purpose, right? Living by your purpose, being your purpose. And so bringing this all together as we conclude, going back to that original question, all right? What does success mean for you? We have talked about the 7 spiritual laws of success. What does success mean for you? Be clear on that. And then you can apply these laws as you go about fulfilling that success for you. So finally, I just want to say it's easy to get caught up in, like external definitions and, the societal norms about what success means. And it always seems to come back to like financial success. But I am here to tell you that yes, that has a place, but also emotional success and spiritual success far, far, far outweighs financial success. You can be such a grounded, happy, fulfilled version of you without all the money in your bank. You can. Now, equally, you can be the same with the money in the bank, but it's all about your energy. And so let me invite you not to get caught up in the external definitions, but lean into these 7 spiritual laws of success and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita that I've tried to incorporate into the laws, and let that remind you that success is about alignment and fulfillment and freedom, and not hustle and not pressure and not attachment. So take a moment today to reflect. Are you chasing or aligning? Are you forcing or flowing? Are you defining success your way or someone else's way? Be sure to take that away, capture those questions and see what comes up for you. Beautiful journaling exercise. And if you want to and it feels right for you, feel free to share that with me. I would be so pleased to hear your thoughts and insights, and continue to do this work together. So as we wrap up, I encourage you to take these laws to heart and take what serves you, right? Some may resonate with you more than others. Some of what I may have shared resonate with you, some may not, and that's okay. Like, take what feels right for you. Consider which of these resonates most, but more importantly, the ones that do resonate with you right now, how can you apply them in your daily life? How can you implement them in a way that feels right for you, such that you start leaning into these laws? And remember, like, this is a journey, right? It's about progress, not perfection. There's no right or wrong way of doing any of this or leaning into these. But by applying and aligning with these principles, you'll not only redefine what success means for you, but you'll also live in that way, and in a way that's true to your highest self and, true to who you are. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I know that was a lot to take in. Feel free to delve into the book if that feels right for you. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences with these spiritual laws. You know, if you have read the book or you do read the book, let me know, how have they impacted your life and transformed your way of thinking when it comes to success. You can share with me on social media, or leave me a comment or DM, or email me at support@namishapatelowen.com, because I would love to keep this conversation going and, as I say, keep going with this way of being together. So until next week, keep shining your light, and may you always live your true self. Bye for now. Namaste. Thank you for listening to another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. If you want to find out more about my work and how I can support you on your growth journey, come visit me at www.namishapatelowen.com, and be sure to sign up for my weekly email, a little love note just for you, to receive more growth and mindset insights. And you can also join my free community, Mindset and Yoga with Namisha. It's an honor to continue serving you